I ain't drunk. I'm just drinking.
But you're so high.
Oh man, you know I ain't high.
But you're so high.
Yeah, well I just take a little sip every now and then.
But you're so high.
Bam! Hey kids, welcome back. Happy Tuesday, I think. Anyway, here it is. My wing came in. Yay! So, I want to start this video out with a disclaimer. I am not a fixed wing expert by any stretch of the imagination whatsoever. So those of you that see me doing shit wrong, sorry. But this is going to be a fairly straightforward build. When it comes to the guts and the, making everything work, that I'm great at. When it comes to doing the final setups, yeah, I might need a little bit of help, but we'll work it out. I have not had that many fixed wings in my life. The first one I had was the AXN, which was AXN, which is the Clouds Fly. And it's kind of like a powered glider. It's got the motor pod in the back, and it was a really popular plane for a while. And that thing is just absolutely awesome. It's fast, it's fun, you can kill the throttle, it has no stall. And you can fly on a 2200 3S for like 45 minutes and it's like $80. And it takes a hell of a beating. Trust me, I crashed it so much, in fact, that I finally did have to retire it. But it lasted me an entire summer, and I cut my teeth on it, and it was a really great experience. And I got pretty good with it. Then I built a Flight Fest or Flight Test, whoever those guys are up in Ohio. Not far from me, actually. I built their P-51 paperboard plane thing. It's still hanging on the wall. I have never, ever crashed it. Amazing. I flew it probably 20 or 30 times, and it's a nice flyer, but it's slow, and it's nothing fancy. And then I've got that other really fast plane. What is that thing? The EF Extra, which is a Hobby King. I just got not too long ago, and you guys may or may not have seen me crash that when I was out with Blackhawk. Very fast plane. And I'm holding off on that because obviously my skills are rusty as shit when it comes to flying a fixed wing. So that bird goes like 120 miles an hour out of the box. We're going to wait a while. And then I built the drone wing, which is the big black and yellow one. I did a build video or something on that. I have not even made into that yet, and I need to. One of the reasons I'm going kind of fixed wing crazy, I am not getting out of quads, but I am taking a little bit of a building break. You haven't seen a lot of new builds coming across. I want to focus on tech tips and fixes and just, little quirky stuff. I'm just tired of building, and I need to let everything catch up to me and get some good frames, whatever else. So take that with a grain of salt. I was going to make this a normal flying wing. But then after I realized it, the main reason I wanted this particular wing is because you can use quadcopter parts. And I was pretty pumped about that because I have, meaning quadcopter size motors, all that stuff. And I've got drawers full of that shit, right? So I'm thinking, that's the bird for me. But what I didn't take into consideration, because all of the fixed wings I've built, like the drone wing and all that stuff, that I put flight controllers in them, so they run iNav and they fly home to you and they do all these things, and they have auto level if you want it. And this one I was going to make a bare bones wing, and I fucked up. The only receivers I've got are S-Bus. So I have no PWM receivers to run servos off of. So I'm going to throw a flight controller in this one. I'm going to make it a drone wing as well. But you don't have to. You can ignore all that part of this video and just make it a normal wing, okay? But I am going to go through the setup for that. That battery needs fixed. Look at that. Bam! Okay. So, what we ended up getting is the AR wing, okay? I don't know if the box will fit up here. I'll show you a picture of it after I unbox everything. So let's start out. It came with a bunch of stickers, which I'm not going to use, probably. Yip-de-doo. It came with a manual, well, a piece of paper, that shows you how to put shit together, which is nice. I like it. I've already gone through the box. It's a very well-made bird. We'll get to that. Here is the starboard wing, which would be the right-hand wing. It's got a cutout for an FPV camera, which we will be using, and that's a Swift style cutout. Look at that. We're going to put an eagle in there. I'll cut these off or change the back of it because this is the only Swift style camera I think I've even got. I might have another one, but that's a good bird. That's a good camera. And I like this. It's got all the cutouts. They thought of that. There is one thing that I don't love. I got excited because like this is where the 9-gram servos go. And I saw this and I thought this thing here is removable. It's not. So I think we've got to snake the wires through, which makes it a little bit trickier, but it's not hard, not impossible. And it has a carbon, this I really, really like. Carbon fiber spar across the flaps, which is excellent, 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 excellent. And it is T-locking your control horn. And if you hear the rain and the thunder out there, it's raining and thundering. So yeah, whenever you build a wing out of EPP or EPO foam, whatever it is, always exercise things a little bit. Okay? Anyway. And it comes with wood inserts for, wow, it's really random. Wood inserts for screwing it into the fuselage, which is really cool. So there's our starboard wing. It comes with 3 different noses. Let's skip to those for now. Here's the fuselage. Very cool. I love it. Very nice bird. For the money, I think it's $56. And this is not the ready to fly, obviously, or the plug and play. This is, you know, put all your own guts in. It's got your duct for cooling, which is thought out really, really well. It's got a slab board for the motor in the back there, and very, very cool. It comes with, you know, these pre-molded skids for the bottom of the fuselage, but it also comes with a cap, which I did not see in any of the review videos that I watched, which you can put this over like that. So that's a really good landing skid. I will be using that, believe it or not. So that's going to be really nice. It is held in, you've got this neat little fiberglass tongue that you pull up on, pull your canopy off. Magnets hold it in, nice big tongue in the back. We all like a nice big tongue. Look at that. That is not going to be flying off. Very well thought out. Battery strap, and if you need to change the center of gravity with your battery, you can move it back here because you are going to have to move your battery back to here if you're going to run a camera in here, because I've heard these are pretty nose heavy. Tons of fucking room in here. And the nose cone, cover, case, whatever you want to call it, there are 3 different designs. There is a, what is that, GoPro Session. I don't know what that's for. That's just a center. That's a GoPro Hero style, and then there's your square style for a box, fox ear box, or a GoPro Session, whatever the case may be. And these are all held on magnetically, but very well, very strong. And then you've got the receiving wood planks in the fuselage, which is really stellar. This is like very nicely made. I built a few birds out of the foam, and this is a nice little bird. I'm liking it so far. Let's see, port side wing. Here you go. The center of gravity on the wings is clearly marked, which is really, really important for a wing, any fixed wing. 9-gram servo again, nothing real fancy in here. Control horns seem to be pretty stout, and like I said, I really like the fact that they're T-locked. The other thing to note about these wings is you have another carbon fiber spar going across the front, leading edge of the wing, which is great. So you got carbon fiber in the back. I mean, they might be fiberglass. I'm not sure. It looks like carbon fiber, though. Carbon fiber in the back, carbon fiber in the front. Then a square carbon fiber dowel is going to go through both wings, through the fuselage, right? Going to be very, very slick. It goes right through the back here. There you go. And then we're going to slide the wings on, screw them in, bam, done. Now, what else is in here? The winglets. Here's the winglets, which go on the ends of the wings. We'll get to these. I'm not even going to bother opening them right now. But you've got 2 wood plates, and then the winglets obviously screw into the wings, which is really good. Very good for stability for, you know, because you don't have rudder on a wing. So you have to have something like a keel, if you will, to help you out. A bunch of hardware. It does come with control rods, thankfully. The screws for the wings, the motor mount, which is stellar. a bunch of Velcro shit. These are camera boxes. So you actually assemble the camera box for the style that you're going to use, and then you put that camera box in here. Bam, done. We'll get to that bit later. I'm not going to futz around with that. JJ Cheap Ass Hat Cam GoPro Hero is going in here at some point in the game. I'm going to actually leave all the noses off for now. Now, the interesting thing about this is I think I already talked about this in one of my other videos. I said to the guys in the club, some of the guys in the club, I'm bored, I need a break, I want to do something different. Let's build a wing. So we're all building, 3 of us are building the exact same wing. My buddy Maui, my buddy Pete, which is Space FPV, and myself, we all ordered this wing. I don't know if they're doing build videos on theirs, but I am. So, it's not really a build video, but it's, you know, you'll get the gist. And I think my brother Pete, who is Space FPV, I think he's going to do a hydro dip on his. Maybe Maui is too. I am not. I decided not to because I learned a long time ago that is an effort in defeat to try to keep a foam plane nice. It just is. I painted my black and yellow drone wing, which, like I said, still needs maidened. I painted that, and it turned out really cool. But I'm not gonna hydro dip it. I do have a shit ton of stickers, like FPV stickers and stuff, that I might stick all over it just for fun. But I'm not gonna get too crazy with it. Okay. So one thing I did learn about building my last wing is I'm gonna do my wings last because I want to conserve my bench space, because realistically I don't need to do that right now. So they've thought this through really well. Carbon spar goes through here. Your servo leads are going to go through here, these sides here. This little port right here is going to your starboard wing, which is for your FPV camera output, or wiring, sorry. So yeah, what are we going to put in this guy? I haven't decided. We're going to use this camera because I have it and it's here. We're going to use, hang on, the AKK 800 milliwatt VTX with a far view. We're going to use flight controller. I'm going to use this Maytech because I have one, and I don't plan on. I actually bought 2 when I did the folding drone build that you guys saw. I bought 2 flight controllers, identical, and I like this flight controller. It actually worked really, really well. And iNav likes it, meaning it works okay with iNav. So that is what we're going to use. All right. I will pop a GPS on this guy. I'm just going to use one of those cheapo ones I got. I got 5 of them. These are those ones I did the lost model thing on. They're $10 a pop. They'll work fine. You do not need a magnometer or a compass for a GPS drone plane. You do for a quad, but not for a plane. So that's cool with that. So what we're going to do, I'm going to use I haven't picked out my motor yet. I got a drawer full of motors that I don't use. Quad motors. I'm not going to use anything pussy, like, 2100 kV. I'm going to use something with a little bit of bounce to it, probably. What else are we going to do? I will show you how I'm going to mount this in here. I'm going to use a standard quadcopter ESC, 30 amp. Screw it. We're running one motor. It works good enough in a quad. If it blows up, it blows up. No big deal. We are going to have to use a buck regulator for the servos. And the servos we are using are good old-fashioned. I got these off Amazon. I've used these a billion times. These are the Emax 9-gram Metal Gear. 2 of these are mine and 2 of these are my buddies. So we're going to use those, but those are going to go in last. We're not going to muss around with those too much yet. But what we're going to do is we're going to make a flight controller mount. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take plastic standoffs and we're going to basically hot glue the standoffs into the wing. All right. I know that sounds crazy, but how do you mount this? I mean, do you use tape? What do you want to use? So I'm going to use plastic standoffs and I'm going to ISO mount them because this board actually came with vibration mounts. Okay. But hot glue is not going to stick to this metal stuff, so, well, not so great, I don't think. Or we could do an impression haven't decided how I'm going to do this yet. What I mean by impression is we could go ahead and put these on, put nylon screws in there, press the nylon screws through the foam, and then stick some hot glue on them. And I think that's how I'm going to do it. I think that's going to turn out really nice. That way we can still remove the board if we ever need to, or change some wiring. Hot glue just isn't going to hold these in very well. So we're basically going to put in threaded studs, if you will, and I think that'll work out really nice. So get your hot glue gun out, because hot glue guns with foam, whoa, are your friend. Trust me. I think my poor AXN was 95% hot glue by the time I buried it. Poor guy. But anyway, he taught me well. So there we go. So what I'm going to do first, we're going to go ahead and mount this. So what I mean by this, let's see, screws. Are there long ones? Those are all, nah, okay. JJ Rotogeek, never prepared. I was not a fucking Boy Scout. Okay, so we're going to take some nylon screws. There we go. And here's what I'm thinking. We're going to thread them into the bottoms of this all the way, and we're going to cut the heads off. Then we're going to mount them to the board and bolt them down, and then we're going to make an impression. Boom! Just push it in so you can see all 4 dots. Then I'm going to take a drill bit, probably just by hand. Actually, I'll probably use a scratch-awl. Hang on a tick. One of these guys, and just push it through, you know, yay far. And then we're going to take hot glue and we're going to seat these things in, kind of like you're putting in fake teeth. I think it's going to work pretty well. So we're going to do that. So we're just going to thread these in. I'm not going to do this whole thing on video. This fucking video is going to be 6 hours long. If you just build this as a wing, a normal good old-fashioned slap the servos in and go, this bird should not take you much more than half an hour. It really shouldn't. It's pretty well thought out. So I'm going to go ahead and do this real quick. Bam, be right back. All right, real quick, just so you can see what I did. All right, I took standoffs. Instead of using nuts, I used standoffs to bolt the board down because we have a lot of room in here. You can always tell when a quad guy builds a fucking plane because it's over-engineered and it's overthought usually. Not because we're smarter, just because we overanalyze shit. So, yeah. So what we're going to do, I just put these down temporarily. I may or may not be mounting my VTX to this. I have not decided yet, but then I threaded screws, nylon screws, into these iso-mounted standoffs. Okay, then I cut the heads off. Then I pressed down pretty hard, not, you know, just enough to make a dimple. And then I took this spear, and I went in here, poked holes, and just round them out a little bit. You're going to fill it up with hot glue anyway. And this is going to work super, super, super nice. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and glue this in, get this ready to rock, and I'll be right back. All right, and we're back. So here we go. She is mounted, got some hot glue strings in there. Notice I did offset the board. See how your directional arrow is pointing to the starboard side? I have it going, it should be going forward obviously, but I'm going to rotate this in iNav because I want access to my SD card slot, which is down here, and just in case, and my USB port. Excuse me. It's a bitch when you put this thing in and you can't get your USB port working right. So realistically, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to find, hopefully I have an ESC. Shit, hang on. Yeah, we got plenty of them. Okay, here's an HGLRC. Well, this one's a Racer Star, but it's the same thing. HGLRC 28 amp BL Heli S. So we're going to mount this in there as well. Okay, I don't know where I'm putting that yet. Yeah. I'll be double siding tape. It's already tinned. I did also tin up this board while we were waiting for the hot glue gun to heat up. So there's our ESC. Now we need to find a motor. Our options are just junk motors. 2450T motor, which I don't love those. We've got a Sunny Sky 2300. Nah, I don't want that. I think I'm going with this. 2305, 2550 kV. Yeah, that'll work. That is off of, I upgraded my buddy. These are those A-Maxes. I put some Cobra 2700s on his because I had damaged one of the motors, so I only have 3. And then I sent one of these to my buddy Pete, and I might even send one to my buddy Maui as well. But I think we're going to use that for the motor. 30 amp ESC should be plenty because I don't plan on spinning much bigger than a 6. If that. Probably a 5-inch prop. I don't even know yet. We'll see. I'm running a 4S, so probably a 5-inch prop. Our VTX is here. I don't know how I'm mounting the antenna yet. That remains to be seen. Maybe right through here. I don't know. We'll figure that out. So what's that leave us? Now, we do need a buck regulator as well.
Hang on.
I bought a pile of these things a long time ago, and I'm glad I did because these things are... I use the shit out of these because one thing you want to be sure of with a fixed wing, when you're running a flight controller like this, do not run your servos off of the 5 volts of the flight controller. It might work for a while, but you're probably going to exceed the amps on it, and bad things are going to happen. Your flight controller's going to go south of cheese, the bit's going to fall out of the sky, and that's no good. So, but we do need to tune these, okay? So we can safely put a 4S on here. And that's the other thing we got to think about too. How do we want to bring our main power in? I'm probably going to bring my main power in. It doesn't matter. We can do it either way. But I want to make this reasonably clean. So anyhow, we're going to bring our main power in, and we're going to go to the inputs here. And then we're going to tune and meter this out. And we're going to tune it by this pot till we get 5 volts. Maybe a touch more, 5.1, and then we're going to be gold, okay? So that is going to be, and a lot of times what I'll do with this stuff, just to keep things neat, I'll just double-side tape stuff in. It works great with foam, very seldomly have issues. We could always mount it to the back or just mount it right there. It's a very, very light setup. This is not a big deal. So think about your layout. 5-volt buck regulator is going to go here. Buck module for you people that are getting all anal on me. Servo wires are coming in right here, so that's not a hateful place for it because we're going to run our 5 volts and negative servo wires to here and then our signals to here. Perfect. And then this is going to go to S1 and then S2, S3. Yeah, okay. So let's see, the VTX, and then we're going to have to extend our camera wires. We're going to have to, actually, I'm probably going to stick my ESC right in this duct. Yeah, why not, right? So that way I don't have to extend these frickin' motor wires. So that'll be nice. It'll probably fit anyway. So the next thing we need to do, I think I am going to mount the motor. So I need to take this stuff off. Let's see. The problem with using used motors out of JJ's box is they probably have that glue heat shrink on them, but that's okay. There's a trick. Give it a little bit of a splice. Oh, with a proper razor. There we go. Perfect. You just get it started. You take your wires out like this, like boning a fish, man. All right. Hope you like fishing. Which I don't. Okay, so then make sure our wires are decent. I'm going to cut them down to here. Nothing but a peanut. We'll go ahead and tin these. And I'm going to take some wire, and I'm going to take our ESC, and I'm going to wire it up. So I'm going to bring our power leads off of here. I'm going to wire the motor to it. Do we have room to slide that through? Of course not. Yeah, barely. Yeah, we do. Okay, so that'll work. What I was checking there was to make sure this little ESC was going to fit through here so I could pre-wire it to the motor, then slide it through and stick it up, because I'm going to then do the positive, negative, and signal, bring those wires out here nice and neat. Bam, be right back. I'm also, well, before we do that, get ahead of the game here, we're going to mount the motor plate as well. So, take out the motor plate. Got some Heller screws in there. Let's see. They don't really give you, let's see, where they're showing. Bolt on the motor first to the plate and then the plate to there. Okay, cool. So we're going to go ahead and do this. I don't suppose you guys need to see my dumbass put screws into this. I'm going to put these back. So I'll go ahead and get this stuff soldered up and mounted, and we'll go over it. Be right back. All right, and we're back. So what I did, I mounted our motor to the back, pretty self-explanatory. The ESC, I don't know if you can see down in there, but I wrapped it with Captain tape and then just used some double-sided tape. Just stuck it right down there. We got plenty of room in here, not a big deal. And as a matter of fact, that is where I'm going to put my receiver as well. Because I'm going to put antenna tubes sticking out of the sides right there. And that's where our receiver is going to lie, and then we'll bring the wires down. Whoa, wait a minute. Gotta think about that. Where is our... Maybe I won't, because we've got that big old tongue that sticks in there. Good call, Ace. All right. But it only goes back to there. I could really bury the bitch. We'll see. Receiver's easy. I'm not going to stress the receiver. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to figure out how we're going to do the power. We're going to tune. Now, you could make your life a little bit easier with this and just use a power distribution board, which I'm really debating about doing instead of pissing around with that buck regulator, because since we glued these in, we should be able to just unscrew these. This should be a nice, perfect fit. I think the power distribution board, the reason it's nice is you can hook your XT60 to it and all that stuff. We don't have all these fucking wires floating around, so we just pull that off. Look how nice and neat that is. Perfect. So let me see. Hang on. I do have one, but God only knows if it works. So I'm going to clean this up and test it. If it works, I'm going to mount it like that. Yeah, that's okay. Good enough. And then we will put the flight controller up top. So let me go ahead and put some power to this baby and see if she works. Be right back. And we're back. It is the next day. I made use of all the stickers that I have saved over the last couple months and gave it a sticker job. But anyway, good news, the power distribution board that I have does work. So this is a very, very basic. I think I bought these in packs of 2 off Amazon a long time ago. So you got a 5-volt reg on this side here and a 12-volt reg on this side here. And then these are all your battery, these here are all your battery voltages. And I did put a big old super cap on the back. I always do that with planes. I never use caps on quads just because of room, and I don't usually need them. Planes, I got bags and bags of these big old things, so I put one in there. Motor wires are sitting out here, so that just made life a whole lot easier. So what we're going to do is we're going to, and I did wire up the XT60. I'm assuming we all know how to do that, so that's easy enough. Our white wire here is our signal, then we got ground, and then we got positive. So those are going to go, the signal obviously is going to go to the flight controller, and then we are going to put our power to there. The next thing we need to do is we need to figure out our servo wires. Now, I'm going to show you one of the wings. More stickers, pretty cool. Here's where the servo goes, easy enough. So we take one of these little 9-gram jobbies. Okay. And it's going to go in there as such. Well, that's easy enough. But what we need to figure out is, are our wires, yes, they are going to be long enough, so that's nice. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to wire in extensions to make my life easier. Okay, so the thing that did disappoint me about this bird, and I did put the winglets on, but the thing that did not disappointed, but whatever. They mold these really, really nice, and they pre-mold the servo cavities and the track cavity and everything else. But this is glued in. Sorry, interruption. Anyway, they glued in this panel, and I wish they wouldn't have. I know they wanted to make this a glue-free model in the sense of ease of putting it together, but now what we got to do is figure out, which isn't hard to do, we're going to snake a wire through here, and we're going to pull the servo wire through. So we're going to need a long piece of wire. Easy enough. That's long enough. So hopefully we can get this to work. Or, what's easier yet, hang on. sometimes a zip strip's long enough. Not in this case. Alright, so I'm going to go do this. I'm going to snake this through, and then we're going to pull the servo leads through. And actually, we don't even need to do that just yet. I just want to make sure that my servo leads were long enough that I could go ahead and wire in my extensions now. Okay, this can wait. This does not have to be done. So we're going to wait on that. So what we're going to do, we're going to take our servo connectors. This is going to be our signal wire, positive and negative 5 volts. We have 2 of these, obviously, and we're going to solder those in to the 5 volt reg here. That's really all we need this for. The 5 volt regulator here, and we're going to go side to side. Be nice and long, give us plenty of room and action there for that. So that'll be cool. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Let's see, flight controller, that's all good there. The other thing that I decided to change in the end, you guys know me, I don't do a lot of HD video, like even with my quads, I just don't. And I really don't feel like putting one in here, my JJ's cheap ass hat cam, like I said I was gonna do, but I remembered I had, hang on. This thing, which is basically the Eachine version of the Runcam Split, okay? And it actually records pretty well and does pretty decent. It's a Runcam Split, basically, just a knockoff. But you can't use it for FPV. This came in that Eachine stack. It's got too much latency for it. So I'm going to basically figure out a way, well, that's easy enough, to permanently mount this camera right there. And then we will mount the doohickey, the board and everything else in there, and then we'll wire this up as well. Looks like we're running 5 volts off of this, so we're going to run that to here as well. Take a little bit of load off, so that's going to be pretty sweet to do. So we're going to tag a couple extra wires off there, and then everything else on the 5 volt system, meaning the GPS and all that, I'm going to go ahead and run off the flight controller just so I don't have to futz around with it. So I'm going to go ahead and wire up the ESC and the servo extensions and all that stuff, and we'll be right back. All right, so there we go. We got our 5 volts going out to our camera. It's going to go up here. We've got our 5 volts going to servo here with our lead up, and 5 volts going to our servo here with our lead up, and lead meaning signal wires, and then we've got our ESC. So the next thing we're going to do with this particular, did I bring that out here? Hang on. Yeah, okay. With this particular FC, the Maytech F722, the thing I like about it is I can put all my contact leads on the bottom for my signal ins. So with iNav, signal number 1 and signal number 2 are both motor signals, okay? In our case, we're going to take our ESC and go to servo 1. And then, so 1 and 2 are used up as motors. Number 3 is going to be your left aileron, or your port side. And number 4 is going to be your starboard side. So that's what we're going to do. I want to go ahead and get that wired up so I can go ahead and mount this in here and get that put away. So we're going to tin up the bottom there. We're going to put the, again, just to review, we're going to put S1 is going to be our throttle, S2 is going to be nothing, S3 is going to be port side, and S4 is going to be starboard side. So I'll go do that real quick. We're going to mount this down. Bam, be right back. All right, and we're back. So nice and neat, not too bad. We still have to tighten up, we'll probably put some zip strips around this stuff here. But yeah, there we go. So here's our voltage going out, 5 volts going out to our camera, our HD camera, not our FPV camera. And then we've got these 2 wires here are our battery voltage, because we're going to have to solder that into the VCC. I just tag these off of any of the ESC ports on the power distribution board, easy enough. Our servos are connected, everybody's copacetic there. Yeah, so there we go. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to work on the peripheral stuff. So, keep smelling something burning in here. That's never a good sign. It smells like hot crayons. It doesn't matter. So that's what we're going to do now. Now what we need to do, We're going to focus on, we got to get our receiver, put that in somewhere. I have not decided yet where that's going to go. We're going to have to do a lot of wire extensions just to make everything fit where it needs to be. So we got to worry about our GPS, which is right here. Maybe we don't have to extend these. Now, something about the GPS in these things. You see a lot of guys going on, they're going out on the wings and mounting the GPS over here and the VTX over here. VTX, maybe not a hateful idea, but for cooling, I'm going to mount my VTX right here probably, and then with the scoop that we have in the hood, that air is going to blow right across the top, so it's going to be perfect. No worries there. Yeah, maybe we don't have to heighten this up. You do want your GPS to be as far away from high power lines as possible, so I will probably put it somewhere. I don't know where. We'll think about it. You could do it out on the wing, but I don't like doing it that way. You can mount it pretty safe, just like right there, and it's going to be okay. So maybe that's what we'll do. Looks like we might not even have to extend the wires, so that's going to be pretty simple. So with this, if we mount our GPS right, okay, it's going to be nice and simple, just like that. It will go through the foam, I promise you. I can pick up GPS stuff in the house. Underneath the roof, I can get 10 signals. It's going to work through styrofoam. I'm not worried about that. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to take some double-sided tape right here. Very, very simple. And we do want the antenna side up. Oops, dumbass. My bad. We can put it right there. And actually, these come with this funky tape. We'll try it. I'm not sure if it's any good or not. Come on. We're going to put the funky tape on and see if it holds. Okay. It should go through there nice and easy. And then we're going to take this off. One thing I do with styrofoam, if it has paint on it, I will usually scuff it up. It's a little bit like that. Usually just enough with your fingernails, fine. And we're just going to stick this guy right here. Perfect. It looks like it's going to hold pretty good. Now, with our connections, I went over this with the Lost Model Finder. The red and black are to 5 volts, easy enough. And then our white is going to, this is the transmit of the GPS. So that's going to go to the receive of a UART. And then this one's going to go to the, whatever color this is, green I think, is going to go to the other side of the UART. So here's your transmit, it's going to receive. This one's going to transmit of your UART. So I'm going to go ahead and tin these up. We'll give this a spin just to kind of keep the wiring neat. And I'm going to slap this on a UART. Nothing but a peanut. Pretty easy to do. So I'll go ahead and do that real quick and we'll be right back. And we're back. So easy enough. There's our GPS plug. And I think that's going to be good enough at that length. I can pop the top, move it over. I'm actually going to seat it with some hot glue right here later on to keep it from bending back and forth too much, because these are not the good high quality silicone wires. These are that plasticky kind of crap. So I want to make sure that these don't get off a little bit. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to think, yes, think about our camera mounting. I'm not actually going to mount it yet, but I just want to get an idea of how far this thing's going to stick out. Perfect, because what I want to do is I want to mount this board right here. Look at that, it's perfect. But of course, Eachine, in their infinite fucking wisdom, put your buttons right here and the SD card right here. So there's no good way to do it. Because if I put it here, I can't access the SD card. If I put it here, I can't really access the buttons out in the field easily. So we're going to mount it at an angle. What a pain in the ass. Idiots. Okay, so that's what we're going to do with that. So we're going to solder that up. We're going to stick this in here at an angle some frickin' how. And hope it works, I guess. Or we can mount it off sides. Even then, it's a pain in the ass. We'd have to mount it this way. But then you got to think about your battery too. You don't want a lot of... My battery's going to have to probably go up front because I'm not going to have all the extra weight up here. So we're going to have to think about this. So let me think about that. We'll go ahead and solder up these 5 volts right here to it, and we'll be right back and I'll show you what I did. You guys probably... I mean, I would use a run cam split in this thing, honestly, instead of hauling around some big-ass heavy GoPro or whatever else. Let's stick a split in here. Be done with it. So the next thing we're going to do, if you'll remember, hang on, this does not fit. I mean, it does, but we got those big old horns on the back. I'm just going to cut them off. I know I've probably got another back to this somewhere, but it's easily achieved with a cable cutter or a Dykes, because it's just aluminum. Ooh, that one's going to be tough. There we go. Just broke a hole in it. That's okay. Now we've got that. Perfect. That's pretty cool. I'm impressed. That's pretty neat. I like that. So I'm going to go ahead and do that too. So what we're going to do is we're going to wire up the 5-volt power to our little goofy cam, and I'm going to find a lead and probably have to extend it, and we're going to run it around here, and we will get our camera feed set up as well. Might do the VTX as well while we're sitting here. So I'll go ahead and do all this stuff, and then we will go over it when we get back. Bam, be right back. All right, and we're back. So here's what we have done. I've got the GPS cable in. I extended the camera wire a lot. Doesn't need to be this far. We'll neaten all this stuff up later. And we wired in, just make it life easier, okay? Wired in camera signal to here, 5 volts in ground, VTX signal in here, and then this particular VTX, which is the AKK 800 milliwatt, I actually took the power and brought it straight to the battery leads because the VTX has filters in it, and plus I'm filtered here. So we should be okay. We're just gonna run that off of full power. And then again, I have not wired up the power for that camera just yet, but we will. The only thing really left to do as far as wiring goes is our VTX. Now, since this is an F7 board, we can put our VTX onto any UART we want. Oh yeah, the AKK we also hooked up to transmit number 2 for channel switching and all that stuff. So UART number 2, we're going to say VTX. And this is something that I do, especially not with quads, but with planes, because there's so much extra wiring. I write down everything that I set up when it comes to iNav. That way when I go to set it up, I can just look at this. I don't have to dissect the damn plane, okay? So we're going to take our receiver, which we're just going to use an XM, whatever the hell it is, you know, whatever receiver you want, and we're probably going to splice that right into receive 3, and yeah, and then we might use smart port as well. I haven't decided yet. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and do that. And then it's just a matter of centering the servos, placing everything, snaking everything. So I'm going to go ahead, and the VTX is probably going to go up in the hood as well. Okay. The VTX, I'm thinking we're probably going to put right here with the antennas. And let's see, where is it? 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 I don't really want to mount it to the board because I hard soldered a pigtail to this because I broke the connector earlier on a different build. So I'm thinking she'll sit real nice right there, and then we'll bring out the antenna right there-ish. Hot glue, that's how that's going to roll. Might not even use a UART for this. I might just set it up the way I like it. But to do this, we're not going to use hot glue. We're going to use a couple layers of this. Okay, double-sided tape. I just fold it in half. Again, we're going to scratch this up just a little bit. No big deal, not a ton. And you can actually put, I do this a lot with wings. Hot glue sticks really, really good to foam, and it sticks really, really good to double-sided tape. So sometimes I'll do this. I'll take a little bit of hot glue, put it on here, not much, just a touch. And then I will put it on here. This does a couple of things. This will give us a nice heat insulator. I'm gonna have to put more tape on that. A nice heat insulator against the foam, so we don't have to worry about that. So I'm gonna double it up again, and that's where we're gonna put that. Then I'm going to extend the wires for the receiver. We're gonna pump that into UART number 3, and I'm gonna mount the receiver in the hood too. Just make sure when you do it this way, I like mounting stuff into the top canopy. Helps keep it down and it keeps it clean, but you got a lot of extra wire because you have to extend everything. But just make sure you have enough wire that you can get the canopy off. That would be bad. Okay. There. That's not going to go anywhere. So then we're going to burrow a hole, probably right here. Yep. And we're going to hot glue this in. Okay. Very, very easy to do. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll actually take a soldering iron and burn it through. So we'll go like this. See how easy? Perfect. Don't drill it. Styrofoam does not drill well. Okay, look at that. Pretty much perfect. So we're going to take this off. We're going to have to hot glue it because the foam is too thick for the unit. Okay, so I'll go ahead and push this through. There we go. Just like that. Okay, and I'm going to do the bottom side first. We're going to try and keep it straight. We do the bottom side first. I might put a little bit around the top, but I think we'll be okay. And that's it. So then we're going to mount the receiver probably right here or off sides, doesn't matter. Then I'm going to put antenna holes using this. I'm going to tube hole it. I might even do it out back here. I don't know. Doesn't matter. We got plenty of room. It's not a big deal. So I'll go do that stuff real quick. Bam. Be right back. Bam, we're back. All right, this is actually going very, very smooth. I wish I would have built this one instead of the C1 Chaser, the big black and yellow drone that I've got, wing, which it's a great bird, but this one's definitely easy to put together. It's very nice. So here's what we've got. We got her finished up, the fuselage anyway. So we got the main guts, and I'll show you what we did. Pop the top. We've got a nice harness now. Okay, with 3 things at the top. That reminds me, I got hot glue that is right there. So we got our GPS in there, our receiver up there, and our VTX. Then I twisted all the wires and zip stripped them here and here and soldered everybody in. I'll show you where I soldered those into. Okay, here's our print. Here's how it's sitting in the bird right now. And our GPS, again, 5-volt ground, transmit and receive is going into here. Our VTX, if you want to use smart audio or whatever, is it smart audio or VTramp? I can never remember. Anyway, I wired that in there. I probably won't even use it. I don't change channels and power, but I put it in there anyway. That is in there. The S bus is going to receive 3 of the, so the receiver S bus signal is RX3 right here. And then I took the S port of the receiver and wired it into TX4. And then I took the 5 volts for the receiver and wired it right here and the ground over here. Okay, I'm sorry, right here and ground over here. So that's it, really. Then for the camera, what I ended up doing for the HD camera, I ended up just hot gluing the, not hot gluing, I'm sorry, double-sided tape this board to the back of the camera. And there's my nice easy access. If I need to pop it off, I can. And it's just the camera itself, all I did was hot glue around the edges, kind of just straightened it up a little bit, fits perfect, weighs very little. I gotta get that hot glue off the nose, and I've got access to my SD card now because all I gotta do, where the hell does it even go? Yeah, right there. See it? Bam. And my buttons here for recording and whatnot. Nice, easy access. I might lengthen these wires up. I kind of wanted these out of the way of the battery, but it's not a big deal. And that's it. So we put our tab back here. We did hot glue the VTX SMA in there. Used a far view, of course. Bam. There she is. Nice and neat. This bird's almost done, kids. Look at that. Very cool. So, next thing we're going to do is servos in the wings. Okay, now you guys might remember my Bench Buddy, this crazy thing that I do all the testing with when I want to test receivers, transmitters, all that other crap. But one addition that I put on there was a servo tester, which is right here. And I've got that actually going into an ESC for controlling an ESC, but I have another port that you can still plug a servo into. So one of the things you want to do is you want to make sure your servos are centered before you go gluing shit in and getting everything rock and roll. Make sure they're centered. It saves you a lot of time. Okay, so what we're going to do, let's see, negative. I'm a quad guy. I'm not used to this shit. This is a lot of work. It's fun though. I like building planes. It's fun. Okay, so where's our bat tray? There it is. Okay. Plug in our trusty battery. Okay. So that's all the way one way. That's all the way the other way. Right there. Sorry, smoking hot wife. So I already centered the one. We're going to center the second one. Bam. Done. That's all I got to do. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put in the units. Now, you can manually center them, put an arm on there, swing them around, and kind of guess. It's not the end of the world if you don't do that. So now what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to snake the wires through the wing. So we got to make sure that's going to work. And I'm not going to do that on screen. That's just a pain in the ass. So this hole here is where the servo lead's going to come out, and that hole is where it's going to go in. So I'm going to go ahead and set those. A lot of people, there's a couple schools of method on how to put in servos. A lot of people will just hot glue them in, which is probably what I'm going to do because they're Metal Gear servos. They're going to be fine. And no, my luck, the plane will be destroyed far before the servos will give way. So what I do is I take the side that you're going to be gluing in, if you're going to glue it. You can use double-sided tape, but I'm going to use a little bit of glue, not a ton, and we're going to put it right there. Bam, done. And I'm going to snake this wire through, and we'll be right back. So, but before you set the servo, make sure you put the servo horn on, and we're going to be using that single rail horn right there, okay? Bam, be right back. All right, and we're back. So here's what we did. I actually used, you can use anything. I used an antenna tube. I have a zillion of these things. I shoved it through the wing, taped the servo lead on, whoop, pulled it right through, no problem at all. Scar up the servo a little bit, get some stiction on there, put your hot glue gun on really hot, and just put a small film, bam, pop it down. That way if you ever do need to pull these out, you can, and you're not going to destroy the wing. The other thing that I did, that sticker's probably not going to stay, that's okay. The other thing that I did with the winglets, pretty self-explanatory how these go on, but I actually epoxied mine on. So it's wood to wood. So I took some 2-part epoxy, the 5-minute super epoxy, mixed it up, put it on the wood side of the winglets, and then screwed them on. You don't have to do that, but it's just going to give it a little bit more rigidity to it. Going to be pretty sweet. So there we go. Everything's done. We're going to take out the thumb screws. I put these in there. Okay. This wing goes together so freaking cool. It's for the money. Shoot, you can't beat this bird. All right. Same thing with this guy. I just put these in last night so I wouldn't lose them. So that means I'll just lose them on the desk probably. Actually, I think I already lost the one. All right. Then your carbon fiber spar. place this through the fuselage of the bird. I'm probably not going to be able to get this on camera. It's kind of hard to do. Make sure we're not going to cut up any components or anything in here. Going to go through there, over the wires. Pretty. Perfect. Okay, cool. So let's go that. Perfect. Then it's pretty self-explanatory. You're going to slide the wing on. This is going to go through, actually, it doesn't go through anything. It's going to sit on top like that. We're going to connect our servo leads and then bolt them on from the inside out. Okay, just like this. I don't know if you guys can see this or not. Hopefully you can. It's not rocket science to do this. If this connection isn't very tight on your servo lead, you might want to put a drop of hot glue on it. I've done that before. This one's pretty tight, so I'm not going to futz around with that. And we're going to take this, put it right there. Look at that. Like it was meant to be. Then we pop the top, take our thumb screw, stick it in there, and it does thread for quite some time. And it is a metal insert. You're not threading into wood, which is, I was really impressed. The construction on this bird, this thing should be tough as nails. Might even be JJ proof as far as fixed wing goes. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side. Be right back. All right, and there we go. Bam, there she is. Everything is done. Wings are on. We got to put the camera on. This is going to be pretty... Sorry, smoking hot wife. So this thing fits so well. I don't even know if I'm going to hot glue it in. But we'll see. 5 volts. Okay. That. I don't know. I don't think I need to. But we'll put a touch on. Now, when I hot glue servos and stuff like this, I usually make it really, really hot and just put a little bit on. Because if you do need to pop that off, you want it hot enough that it'll sink into the foam. When your hot glue gun's on low or whatever, it doesn't really seat into the foam very well. So, yeah, gotta watch that. Beautiful. Cool. Then, do a little bit of cable management here. And I'm going to show you a little trick that I used to do back in the day. Let's see. Yeah. So, check this out. Silicone tape does not stick well, or silicone wire does not stick well at all to hot glue. At all, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to take zip strips and we're going to keep it reasonably loose. Doesn't need to be tight because I want a little bit of flex in here. And then we're going to grab a cutter, and I just take a little bit of hot glue, stick it on the zip strip, and stick it somewhere inside the plane. In this case, we're putting it on the wood. This is going to keep it out of the way. Okay, just like that. Yep. Hot glue gun's too hot now. It's all right. We'll go ahead and neaten this up because I want to be able to get my battery in there still too. So you want a little bit of looseness. That'll work. Okay. A little bit of sloppy-doppy, if you will. And then we'll go ahead and do the same for back here. Again, keeping it loose. We're not, doesn't have to be tight. Or what you can do is you can leave a little tail like this and just literally stick it into the foam. I don't know if you can see this or not. Sorry, guys. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to put it on this plate. But you can just stick this little piece into the foam like that and then stick a little bit of hot glue on it there too. I did that on my last wing and it works really well. It's man, I just realized I have hardly cussed at all in this fucking video. What's up with that? Sorry, another smoking hot wife interruption. So there we go. We got a little cable management in there. Pretty easy. No big deal. Still has a little bit of flex. If I want to stick a battery under there, it still could be a little bit longer. I went too short on that. But other than that, That's without a doubt the neatest fixed wing I've ever built. Now, this was originally supposed to be a normal fucking wing, but like I said in the beginning of this, the reason it's not a normal wing is because I didn't have a receiver that would control servos by itself, meaning PWM output. All I had was S-buses, so what are you going to do? So I used a flight controller, and since I had extra GPSs, I made it a drone. So yeah, now what we're going to do is we're going to do a prostate check, make sure this baby's not going to blow up. Hopefully, I have been really fortunate with planes. Every plane I've ever built never had one wiring mistake, amazingly. Quads, not so much. Maybe it's just because you have so much more room to work with, but put your meter on continuity check. Okay. And we will test our butt plug here. Fuck it, looks good to me. We're gonna plug it in, see if smoke comes out. Make sure our antenna's on, everything's copacetic. Perfect. Everybody's fat and happy here. I'm going to turn my VTX. Actually, I'm just going to plug my VTX for now. I like it. I don't see... Yeah, we'll see. Okay. So one of the things that I do not do with wings is or planes, if I'm putting them on iNav, is I do not put the control linkage on the bird until iNav is set up. Because it tends, your servos are going all out of whack and all over the fucking place, and not a big deal. There we go. Looks like everything's good. Okay. Can't tell if the camera up there that camera's got juice or not. We'll find out. So it looks like it's a good check. Looks like everything's good. The one thing I do is when your servos are centered, I will make it so my flaps are up just a little tiny bit, because wings tend to nosedive just a touch. Not nosedive, but, pitch down. And I found with me, that helps. And one thing we did not put on yet is that fancy-dancy skid plate. I don't know. Let's see. That's interesting. Guess it just goes like that. Kind of hokey, really. I think I'm just going to leave it off. Fuck it. Alright, sweet. So, I'm going to take this outside and get an actual full view for you guys so you can really see what it looks like. I'm not putting the prop on yet because we still have to set everything up with that. So, your prop is going to be spinning, if you're behind the bird, it's going to be spinning clockwise, okay? So, we need to make sure that's all good. Set up the linkages, and after I do a flight, and I'm going to video that, after I do a flight, then I'm going to do the whole iNav setup, so I know it's all right and perfect and, everything else. So, bam, I will be right back with just some walk-around video of this whole thing so you can see it, and the next video you see is going to be the flight. I think that's it, so keep shining side up. I'll be right back. All right, here's a quick walk-around just so you guys can see, get an idea of... It's not a huge wing. It's, what is this, 900 millimeter or something like that? Yeah, I think it is. But yeah, turned out really nice. I am not disappointed at all so far. And it's very light, very durable. The thing is made like a fucking tank for, look at that. Bam. Need some more stickers on the bottom. But other than that, just freaking cool. I love it. So, now that we're out in the daylight, let me show you the hood, what's under the hood. Very, very very compact. Nothing but a peanut. I actually have more room, I think, in this one than I did the C1 Chaser, which is saying something. Maybe not more room, but everything just seems to fit nicer. So there we go, kids. Bam. Keep shining side up. Next thing you see on this bird is going to be the flight test, hopefully. Talk soon. Bye.